Trimandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Jaksu Sumita Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobishta Stapita Yena Bhutale Sayarupa Kadamanya Dadati Sampadantika Vandeha Sri Guru Shita Parakamala Sri Guru Vaishnavascha Sri Rupa Sakajata Sahagana Raghunatha Vitata Sajiva Sadvaita Savaduta Parijana Saita Sri Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padasahakana Lalita Sri Vishakavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastuti Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radha Vrindavanishwari Vishabhano Sutadevi Panamami Haripi Vanchakavatarubhyas Chakripa Sundhibe Vacha Patitana Pavanavibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavadaya Krishna Pima Padayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Surya Vaita Gadara Siva Shari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ananda Lila Maya Vigrayo Imabada Vichavi Sundarayo Tasma Maha Prema Rasa Padayo Chaitanya Chandayo Namo Namaste. So I thank everyone for coming for tonight's Bhagavad-Gita discussions. Even though it's very cold, 3-4 degrees, still you're all able to come, which is good. Some other parts of the world you'll be getting the snow, just like Prabhu's from Detroit. I'm from New Vrindavan. Snow, big snow. But here there's no snow here. I think you have to go to the mountains to get the snow here. But it's still nice, When it's cold, then devotees can be together and then they can hear Krishna Katha. And that gives real warmness when you hear about Krishna. When you hear the topics, either spoken by Krishna or spoken about Krishna. So that takes away all the miseries of material life. Cold, hot, whatever. Just hear about Krishna, then everything is blissful, isn't it? So, we are continuing the Bhagavad-Gita. Now we are nearing the end of the Bhagavad-Gita. Lord Krishna had been instructing Arjuna for the past 45 minutes. Because Arjuna, speaking the Gita, it was before the beginning of the battle of Kurukshetra. So the Lord spoke to Arjuna in 45 minutes, according to the estimated time. So which means in 45 minutes, Arjuna heard the Bhagavad Gita, and then he understood Bhagavad Gita, and he was able to act. He was able to act based on what he was able to execute his duty after hearing Bhagavad Gita. Whereas many of us, we have been hearing the same Gita for many, many, many years, 10, 20, 30, 40 or more years, still, we haven't understood the Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna says, Savadama Parityaga Mamikam Sanam Braja, give up all endeavors, give up all speculations, just surrender unto me. Still, we have been unable to surrender unto Krishna. But nonetheless, the medicine, because it's all because of material disease, which is very, very deep within us. But the medicine of material disease, the medicine to cure material disease is to hear and chant about Krishna. That is the medicine, the only medicine for curing the material disease. So we are text number 67. So we can chant that today, and then we're going to discuss about it. Idam te natapakshkaya. Idam te natapakshkaya. idante natapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na chasushu sabe vakhyam na chamanyo vyasuyati idam this te by you now never atapaskaya to one who is not austere now never abhaktaya to one who is not a devotee kadachana at any time now never cha also asususabe to one who is not engaged in devotional service vachyam to be spoken na never cha also mam toward me ya anyone who abhyasuyati is envious. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace as a Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This confidential knowledge it's okay, may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Purport. Persons who have not undergone the austerities of the religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, who have not tended a pure devotee, and especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as a historical personality, or who are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential part of knowledge. It is, however, sometimes found that even demoniac persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in a different way, take to the profession of explaining Bhagavad-Gita in a different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid such commentaries on Bhagavad-Gita. Actually, the purpose of Bhagavad-Gita is not understandable to those who are sensuous. Even if one is not sensuous, but is strictly following the disciplines enjoined in the Vedic scripture, if he is not a devotee, he also cannot understand Krishna. And even when one poses himself as a devotee of Krishna, but is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he also cannot understand Krishna. There are many persons who envy Krishna because he has explained Bhagavad-Gita that he explained in Bhagavad-Gita that he is the supreme and that nothing is above him or equal to him. There are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should not be told of Bhagavad-Gita, for they cannot understand. There is no possibility of faithless persons understanding Bhagavad-Gita and Krishna. Without understanding Krishna from the authority of a pure devotee, one should not try to comment upon Bhagavad-Gita. idante natapaskaya, na bhaktaya kadachana, na chasusu sabe vacham, na cha manyo vyasuyati. So here, Lord Krishna, he has finished explaining Bhagavad-Gita. The Lord made a lot of deliberation. Different branches of knowledge were explained to Arjuna, and especially the beginning from the science of the soul. When Lord Krishna said that was it? Nate eva hanjatu nasham, nato jeme janadipa, na chavana bhavishame savi vayan atamparam. When Lord Krishna told Arjuna that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor any of this, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. So this is the beginning of the science of the soul that Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, that yes, we are always existing, and then you are simply lamenting, you are thinking of your relatives being exterminated. Who is going to be exterminated in this warfare? Why? Because you are doing this on the consideration of the body. So Krishna, first of all, he wants to establish the fact that yes, the soul is eternal. For the soul, there is no birth, there is no death, no old age. The soul is always existing. You know, Nachamriyativa Kadachim, Nacha Bhuta Vanabojaha, Ato, was that? Ato Nita Sasoto Nyamporano, Na Hanyate Ayamanusare. This is all in chapter 2 of the Bhagavad-Gita, whereby location say that the just like when one taking a dress, one take off dress and put another dress. So similarly also the soul put on dress. At a certain time, the soul have to give up this body and then take another body. So, of course, the chapter 2 is a very deep science. And then chapter 3, the Lord explains the Kama Yoga, about the action in Krishna consciousness. How one has to perform actions, how one has to perform sacrifices, which is the basis of materialistic existence. And in chapter 4, the Lord really explains this base of, actually chapter 4 and 5. The Lord talks about the fact that yes, his body is eternal, and those who can understand that yes, I make appearance, I perform so many activities, and those who can understand that such activities are transcendental, even though I appear and disappear, but my appearance and disappearance is all transcendental. It's beyond the conception of this material world. So those who can understand that, then they can be free from the repetition of birth and death. They can cross over the samsara, this cycle of materialistic existence. They can cross over. If you understand that, yes, Krishna do not have material body. His body is always eternal. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma also said that. Therefore, he said, Ishwara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Adigo Vidam Savakarana Karanam. So Lord Brahma said this, that yes, Krishna is the supreme Ishwara, is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is the controller of all the controller. He is the beginning of everything, and he has no origin himself. But he is the origin of everything. So therefore, he is the cause of all causes. So Lord Brahma says that. And Lord Brahma, he is the creator of this universe. He's the first person who was born in this material world. So, and then of course, towards the middle of the Bhagavad-Gita, from chapter 7 to chapter 12, then the Lord spoke about his about himself, about his devotees, and how do you render service unto him. The Lord say, he said, this knowledge is the king of education. This knowledge is the most confidential knowledge. So what is that knowledge? The knowledge of the Supreme Lord. The knowledge of the Supreme Lord, and also his relationship with his devotees. So the Lord telling Arjuna, this knowledge is the king of education. And he said, what did he say? Then he said, Susukam Katumavyayam, that if you understand this knowledge, you will always be happy. Because Susukam means happiness. And then when you add Su to it, then the Lord says, Susukam means you'll be very, 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 very happy if you simply understand this transcendental knowledge. But how can one understand this knowledge unless one is a devotee? This knowledge cannot be understood unless one is a devotee. There are so many, many unscrupulous persons who have tried to make commentaries on the Bhagavad-Gita. First, they are not devotees of Krishna. They don't know who Krishna is, nor do they care to know who Krishna is. And to them, Krishna is a great historical personality, not as God, but a great historical personality. And he has said this Bhagavad-Gita. And this Bhagavad-Gita is just about your duty in life. And, to them, even sometimes, they will even go as far as saying that there's not really such a person as Krishna. He really does not really exist. That there was no battle of Kurukshetra, that the battle of Kurukshetra was just symbolic. It's a symbol. So they will give so many, many interpretations of Bhagavad-Gita. And the politicians, you're all Indians, so you're all very, very aware of how the politicians, how they take advantage of what is in the Bhagavad-Gita to suit their own purpose, for instance, like Srila Prabhupada will often criticize Gandhi, who used Bhagavad-Gita to propound non-violence, non-violence. But Bhagavad-Gita was spoken so that Arjuna can fight. So Bhagavad-Gita is not about non-violence, it's about, because the violence which you commit is to neglect the demand of the soul. So that's why before Srila Prabhupada came to the West, because Prabhupada's the Bhagavad-Gita as it is was not the first Bhagavad-Gita which was translated to English. There have been so many Gitas. So many, there are hundreds and hundreds of Bhagavad-Gita translation into English with their particular comments. Before Prabhupada's Gita came in. But not a single one of them has been able to make a devotee of Krishna. Not a single one. Not a single one. Because before Prabhupada came to the West, people were reading Bhagavad-Gita. Those who are interested in the Eastern philosophy, into Oriental philosophy, they were studying Bhagavad-Gita. There are many colleges in America who are teaching Bhagavad-Gita, because those who are in the Oriental department. But not a single person really know what is Gita. They just study Gita, but they don't know what they are studying. So therefore, because no one understands, so no one can become a devotee of Krishna. Whereas the purpose of the Bhagavad-Gita is right there in the end of this 18th chapter, where Krishna says, Savadama Parityagya Mahamekam Sanam Braja Ahantum Savapapebhyo Moksha Yishyami Masucha, that my dear Arjuna, become my devotee. Give up all endeavors and become my devotees. And of course, now Arjuna is already a devotee. It's not that Arjuna was not a devotee. Arjuna is a devotee of Krishna. Arjuna is eternally a devotee of Krishna. Otherwise, how will Krishna be driving Arjuna's chariot? You know, it's not that anybody can just go and say, "Hey, Krishna, come and drive my chariot." You can just, employ Krishna to become your charioteer, Sarati. But Arjuna was Krishna's devotee, eternal devotees. Pandavas, Krishna is their life. Without Krishna, they have no existence. Krishna is their existence, the Pandavas. So, Arjuna becomes devotee, but Krishna is using the medium of Arjuna to speak to us, to we, the conditioned souls. So Krishna is using the Arjuna's medium, just like we say that the spiritual master, he is the transcendental via media. He's the via media, between the living entity and Krishna. So the transcendental via media is like a mirror. He knows Krishna, and he can tell us who Krishna is. So the Lord is telling Arjuna that, yes, become a devotee, surrender to me, and if you do that, you will come to me. So, the Lord is giving this knowledge. Actually, there are many, many departments of knowledge in the Bhagavad-Gita. There are some knowledge in the Gita which are considered to be ordinary knowledge. There's Guya, Guyatam, Guyatara, and Savaguyataman, which means there are confidential knowledge, there's more confidential knowledge, there's the most confidential knowledge, and then there's the best of all confidential knowledge. Krishna said, Idam tute guyatamam. Now I'm going to speak to you the most confidential knowledge. When Krishna told Arjuna. And what is that most confidential knowledge? He said that Mamana Bhava Madbhakto Majajimam Namaskuru. Mam Evashasi Satyamte Pratijane. What is it? He said that. Yeah, Pratijane Priyoshimi. So always think of me, worship me with Bhav, Mamana Bhava Madbhakto. So which means the worship of Krishna is not ordinary worship. The Lord says, Bhava Madbhakto, worship me with deep love. Because we want to offer something to Krishna, we want to offer some food to Krishna. So we want to offer some food. Does that mean that Krishna is hungry? So therefore we need to offer him food? No, Krishna is not hungry. But what Krishna is hungry of is the love of his devotees. So whatever his devotee offer him with love, he accepts, he relishes it. The Lord said, Patam Pushpam Phalam Toyam, Yama Bhakta Payachite. He said that if leaf, water, or fruit, whatever, if you offer to me with love, I accept that love. Just like is it Sabari, the lady, one lady, Sabari? Huh? Sabari, it was the lady, and I think her name was Sabari. When Lord Ramachandra was in the forest, so this lady, she's like an Aborigine lady, but she was a devotee of Lord Ram. So when Lord Ram was in forest, she wanted to offer something to the Lord. So she was picking berries to offer the Lord. And then she was eating the berry to make sure it's good, and then she would put it aside. She would take some bite to take it and put it aside, because she wanted to offer something nice to Krishna. And she wanted to make sure that it's good, thing that she's offering to Krishna. So she collected and then she offered that to Lord Ram. So when we say that, what kind of devotee is that? Is tasting something before you offer it to the Lord. But the Lord is not interested in what you have. What the Lord is interested in is love. It's your love. That's what He's interested in. Just like when Lord Krishna when he went to Dwarka. He went to Hastinapur. So he went to Hastinapur to do some diplomacy between the Kauravas and the Pandavas, try to avoid so that they cannot fight. So the Lord went there to try to make some resolution so that the Kauravas, that they should not be too greedy they should at least give something of the kingdom to the Pandavas, even some villages. So when Lord Krishna arrived in Hastinapur, so that time, because Duryodhana, he has some relation with Krishna. He has some relation with Krishna. And what is that relation? Because Duryodhana's daughter was married to Krishna's son, Samba. If you read Krishna book, you see how Samba, how he kidnapped the daughter of Duryodhana, and then the Kauravas, then they arrested the Samba. So Lord Balaram went to Hastinapur, and he told them, okay, you better release Samba, otherwise I'm going to throw you off into the Yamuna. So anyway, when Krishna was arriving in Hastinapur, Duryodhana felt, okay, now let me have a big reception for Krishna. Let me have a big reception for Krishna. So he prepared very elaborate meals, royal meal, elaborate. Just like, let's say you go in Delhi and the Prime Minister says, you come and have a banquet. The Prime Minister, preparing a banquet for you. That must be very, very nutritious meals to have a banquet, So Duryodhana, he made an elaborate banquet to welcome Krishna to Hastinapur. But when Krishna reached Hastinapur, he did not go to the banquet, the reception, which had been organized by Duryodhana. He simply went to the humble house of Vidura, because the Vidura was a dear devotee of Krishna. So he went to the house of Vidura, and Vidura was a poor person. He didn't have anything. He didn't have that much. So the only thing that Vidura could offer to Krishna was banana. So Vidura's wife, she was peeling the banana to try to give to Krishna. But because she was in so much love of Krishna, she was throwing the banana instead she was throwing it away and giving the leaf, banana peel to Krishna. And Krishna was eating that. Krishna was eating the peels. So, because his devotees, they have love for him. So therefore, the Lord become hungry when devotees, they want to offer him something, become hungry for them. Otherwise, for anyone, he's never hungry. Because the next day when Duryodhana, when he was very angry. He said, oh, Krishna, why didn't you come to my reception yesterday? I prepared so much for you. Why didn't you come? So Lord Krishna told him that for someone to eat, there must be two things. Either the person must be hungry, then he can eat food, or if the giver has love. He said, you, Duryodhana, you know very well, I'm never hungry. I'm self-satisfied. I'm after calm. Everything is, I'm never hungry. So why should I come and eat the food? And at the same time, for me to eat your food, there must be love there, but you have no love. So much hate in your heart. You have no love. You hate my devotees so much. So how can I come and partake of your food? So, here Lord Krishna said that, for those who are envious of me, who are non-devotees, so the Lord said that this knowledge should not be explained to them. So it's actually the Lord is actually giving a very, very deep criteria here of who is fit to hear the confidential message of the Bhagavad-Gita. Who is fit to hear this confidential message? Because the Bhagavad-Gita is full of so many confidential instructions. It's full of so many confidential instructions. And the law is actually forbidding one to explain this knowledge to anyone. He said that if one is not a devotee, you should not explain this knowledge to them. So the Lord is telling Arjuna that you should never explain this science, this essence of the Bhagavad-Gita, to anyone whose senses are not controlled, who is a non-devotee, who is not austere, who is devoid of a serving mood, or who is envious of me. So basically, in this world, normally, if one is not a devotee of Krishna, normally it's due to envy of Krishna. So the Lord is giving a very silly, or let's say very deep idea, the instruction that don't try to explain this knowledge to non-believers, because you explain to them, they will simply misuse it. Whatever you tell them, it will be used in a contradictory way. Just like one time, Indra and Virochan. So Indra Indra is the head of the demigods, the king of the demigods, and Virochan was the head of the demons, the king of the demons. So one time, both Indra and Virochan, they went to Lord Brahma to hear some, spiritual knowledge, Atma Tattva, Atma Gyan. So both of them went there to Lord Brahma, and then Lord Brahma was explained to them about Atma Gyan, the spiritual knowledge, especially how to become free from the illusion of this material world. So when Lord Brahma explained to both of them, so because Indra, is a demigod, is basically a devotee of the Lord, so he understood the science. He understood whatever Lord Brahma was teaching. But Virochan, even though he heard the same message, but he simply took it as a way by which he can identify himself more and more as a material body, and how to enjoy himself, how to enjoy his body to the max. So the same knowledge which was given, one person take it as a means for self-realization, whereby another person take the same knowledge as a means for sense gratification. You see? So that's why the Lord said, unless one is, he said, one who's not austere, who's not a devotee, do not explain this science, this knowledge to them, because it will be misused. It will be misused. Do not. And of course, then we may ask a question that if we say that don't explain this knowledge to the non-believers, to non-devotees, so how come we are going out, especially in our society, we are distributing millions and millions of Bhagavad-Gita, and those who are distributing them to, they are not necessarily devotees, isn't it? And we are every year we are distributing millions and millions and millions of them. So how do we, how do we understand this? How can this be taken? Now, of course, the preacher, we know, of course, when we are preaching the message of the Gita, normally you have to be able to qualify your audience in terms of what to speak to a particular audience. You must be able to determine who to speak, some ordinary message of the Bhagavad-Gita, or to deeper aspect of the science of the Bhagavad-Gita. So the receiver of the knowledge must be qualified, which you have to be able to ascertain their qualification, because you cannot tell them about the confidential topics of Krishna. Because if you tell them the confidential topics of Krishna, they may simply become offense, or they may commit offense. And by them committing offense, it's not good for them, because they will get in reaction to that. If somebody commits offense by hearing something, very, very confidential. So therefore, a preacher has to be very, very expert in the presentation of the knowledge. So when devotees are going, they are distributing millions and millions of Bhagavad-Gita, you know. And most of the time, I remember in the West, many times, you give a book to someone, hey, my dear sir, take this book. This is a spiritual book. This way, whatever, so they take the book from you, and next thing you know, they put the book in the trash can. So many books have been put in the trash can. Now, what happened is that, and then we also find people who have found the same book in the trash can. Somebody pick up the book from the trash can, and they read the book, and they become devotees. Many of our devotees are like that in America, isn't it? Bro? Many, so actually I was in the trash can, and I saw this book in the trash can. I picked it up, and I found it very interesting. You know, so because people are ignorant, they take the book, they put the book in the trash can, and because they are ignorant. But at the same time, just by touching the book, some let's say what we call a security. Some kind of security was there, even though they throw the book away. But still, the method that they touch the book, or usually they give some action to the devotee by giving some donation or something. So they have performed some pious activities which are known to them, which will be beneficial for them, in the future. And of course, then somebody else come and pick the same book, and that person become devotee. You see, I remember one time I had a friend. I was in California, and one is a professor of a university. So this person, I think he has probably somebody gave him Bhagavatam at the airport or something. So he had invited me to his house, and he didn't know that I'm a devotee of Krishna. Somehow he was talking with me, and he went to his closet, and he said, look at this book. He took out the book, and the book happened to be Bhagavatam. He said, look at this book. Look at it. And then he put it back in there. He just took it out and then put it back in there. That's all. He never opened the book, but the fact that the book is present in his wardrobe, he's actually happy. He showed me the book without him knowing that I'm a teacher of that book. No. So, even though, yes, it's when we are preaching and we have to give the book, and the Lord said that don't give this knowledge to non-believers. So basically, devotees take the risk. Okay, let's distribute books. Let's give it out. After all, that's what Prabhupada did. He took the chance. He came to the West. When Srila Prabhupada was on the battle on the Jaladuta's ship, just before he came out, he descended in New York. So he wrote a poem that, oh my dear Krishna, I don't know why you have sent me here, and I don't know how I'll be able to present your message. How can people understand your message? He said that this place is full of people are so much in the mode of ignorance and passion. How can they understand this transcendental message? How can they understand the nectar of transcendental loving devotional service? How can they understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna? How can they understand? So Prabhupada was making this prayer. He said, my dear Lord, I don't know why you have brought me here, but I'm sure you brought me here because you have a business to do here. That's why you have brought me here. So therefore, you can make me your puppet. As your puppet, you can make me dance. Make me dance at your feet. Nachao Samate, make me dance at your feet. So, even though the injunction is given that don't do this, don't do that, don't preach to non-devotees, don't give this knowledge to non-devotees, but sometimes devotees take the risk to give her this message. Even though, yes, it may be that, yes, we are disobeying the Lord's order not to give her this message to the non-believers. But a devotee is such that He doesn't mind if he has to go to hell, but he's very mindful that people get delivered. Like the popular story of Ramanujacharya, who was given a particular mantra by his guru to chant. It's supposed to be a secret mantra. So he asked his guru that, what will this mantra do when I chant it? The guru said, you chant this mantra, you become liberated, you will attain liberation if you chant this mantra. And this mantra is secret. This is very confidential. Do not broadcast this. Very, very confidential. So Ramanujacharya, what he did the next day, he went to the marketplace and called out to everyone. Everyone, come and hear this mantra, chant it, and benefit your life and become liberated. So with a big announcement, giving out the mantra to everyone, even though he was forbidden by his guru not to do that. So when his guru saw him and found out what he was doing, that I gave you instruction not to tell anyone, this is a very confidential thing I gave you. So Ramanuja, he replied, he said, well, I understood that. I know by disobeying you, I'm going to go to hell. I'm going to suffer for disobeying you. But at least these people here, common people, they can be delivered from their sinful reactions. So they can be delivered. But I'm ready to accept whatever punishment that is given to you by this disobedience of the elder. But of course, the guru was very, very happy. Actually, you're very, very competent. So the guru embraced him that, yes, you're a great personality. So sometimes, even though the instruction is there that this knowledge should not be given to the non-believers, and especially to those who are said to be envious of Krishna. But sometimes they would take a risk. Sometimes, that risk. That risk is due to the love of the Lord and also the compassion for the living entities, the compassion that they have. So therefore, it's Jivedaya. Jivedaya means the compassion to the living entities. Jivedaya Namruchi. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Jivedaya Namruchi. Actually, Rupa Goswami, that we have to be very compassionate to all the living entities, even though at our own risk sometimes. So anyway, it's a lot of points which Srila Prabhupada mentioned here in this text, that this knowledge should not be given to those who are envious, who are not austere, or those not devotees. This knowledge should not be given to them. But again, we simply have to follow our own acharya. How they have come to deliver us. Srila Prabhupada came to the West. It's not because of any particular qualification that we had, but he came and gave us this knowledge. But because he was a pure devotee of Krishna, because he's very, very dear to Lord Krishna, so some of us were able to understand the message, and some of us were able to take up the process of devotional service, only because of the compassion of Srila Prabhupada. So thank you very much. Any comment, question?
Yes, Prabhu, yeah. One comment.
Okay, let him ask question then to you. Yeah, your question.
Krishna says that don't impart this knowledge to non-devotees.
Mm-hmm.
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yare dekho tare kaho Krishna utesh.
Yeah.
So both are contradictory statements. So I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more benevolent. That is the reason he is saying that tell everyone about Krishna, whoever you meet.
Yes, that's why, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is called Mahavadanyaya Avatar, the most compassionate incarnation of Godhead. Very, very compassionate. Krishna's very strict, but Mahaprabhu is actually Krishna himself, but he gave up. He's very, very merciful, so he gave up he gave his own name very freely for everyone to accept. So that's why it's called the Mahavadanyaya Avatar, the most compassionate incarnation of the Lord.
But Prabhuji, as you told that like some invest when you give Gita to people, sometimes they throw it into the trash bin. So don't they incur any sin by doing this?
Well, they did that out of ignorance because they didn't know. Because somebody gave them the book and they gave donation just to get rid of the person, and they took the book and they just put the book in because they don't want to be bothered. So, because of ignorance, that's what they do that, due to ignorance. It's not because they're envy of Krishna. It's just because they just don't know what kind of book is this. They don't know.
But Prabhuji, like we get...
But however, people in the West doing that, it's not the same people in India doing that. If you're Indian, do that in India because you know who Krishna is. But you do that, you will get reaction. You will suffer for it. But in the West, it's different because they don't know. So therefore, they are forgiven.
But when we do some devotional service, or for example, if we take Gita,
Yeah.
unknowingly, because we are, anyhow in West people are ignorant about Krishna. But when they take Gita, they get some agyat sukriti. But when they throw Gita, don't they get agyat reaction?
Well, normally they give some money for the book. They don't get the book for free. They take some money, they give some money for it. So the fact that they give something for it, even though they threw it away, they still have some security. Because what happened is that even the same people who have threw the book away, in the subsequent, after some time, maybe, some time, couple years, the same people, they again see another book, and again they came back and buy the book. They say, oh, and then something come back to their consciousness. We've had many, many stories of the people who have initially they threw the book, and then they think that, oh, what is this Hare Krishna? Let me find out about this Hare Krishna. So the fact that they encountered with the devotees, they gave something, even though they didn't like what they took, still, that is secreted, which was created. It's called agyata or non-pious activities. The fact that they throw the book away, it's not, it doesn't take into consideration. But if you do that because then you will get reaction. You understand?
And how about that person, like for example in US, if somebody is distributing Gita and the receiver throws it in the bin, I understand that the receiver won't get any reaction because he's ignorant about Krishna. But how about that person who is giving it? He will get reaction because he knows that he has given a Gita, a holy book to somebody, and he has thrown it in the bin. So
no, because the person is doing it on the order of the spiritual master. So therefore, because he's doing it on the order of the guru. We are distributing books because Prabhupada said distribute the books. Prabhupada said give it out. So therefore, devotees are distributing books. Okay? So therefore,
with this question only, like we are being told to be compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Now what happens, it is being told it's a very confidential knowledge. We should not part it to people who are demonic, or in the 10 offenses which we are told, those who blaspheme the devotees, we should not give Krishna Katha, Krishna name.
Yeah.
Prabhu, how do we be compassionate to those people, those who are actually demonic, and we are trying to cultivate, but still they are of that demonic nature that they are saying that Krishna is nothing, Krishna is no supreme, you are falsifying, it's all fallacy, what you are doing.
Yeah.
Prabhu, how do we be compassionate to those people?
No, those kind of people, you don't preach to them.
We should not be compassionate.
No, you don't even ignore them. You got those kind of people.
It's wasting time.
You find that only in India, you don't find that in the West. Because in the West, nobody knows anything about Krishna.
Huh?
In the outside of India, nobody knows anything about Krishna. They don't know who Krishna is. They don't know who God is. But here in India, everyone knows. They've had some kind of information about Krishna. So therefore, other people are impersonalists, Mayavadis or whatever, Sunyavadis, But those kind of people, we don't preach to them. You avoid them.
Then we should not be compassionate to them.
Well, there are so many innocent people. Just focus your energy on the innocents. That's all. Only go after those who are innocent. There are many innocent. Because there are 4 kinds of people in this world. 4 kinds of people, the innocent. So we only go to those who are innocent, not to those who are simply demoniac. No, we don't waste our time with them.
Yes.
Krishna says only this confidential knowledge not to be given to these four type of people.
Yeah.
But the general information, general knowledge,
Yeah, the
or
general knowledge you can give, general knowledge. Like you're not this body, you're a spirit, so, that common thing. The basis of happiness in the material world, happiness, that understand that this material world, everything is temporary, happiness or distress, it's all temporary. This is general philosophy, by which you can tell anyone. But you cannot get into the confidential secret, confidential discussion of devotional service. You cannot get into that. To non-believers, you cannot get into that. That only to those devotees who have had the purified senses. Then they can appreciate.
Guruji, I have one thing to say on this. So I'm disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Swami Maharaj. So one of my god brothers, he's a very famous celebrity by the name Vivek Vedra. So he's a international business coach, and so he distributes Gita to everyone and in different names. So like people get attracted by the management lessons from Gita, or Gita as a business book. So sometimes they distribute Gita and in the disguise of that you will get good management lessons, or you can use Gita as a life manual. So we can do that, right?
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, it's a trick. It's a trick, It's a trick, because eventually somebody have Gita, they have faith in that. Then eventually they become devotees. Eventually, so you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's like a candy. It's a sugar-coated candy. I mean, medicine is coated with sweet. So so it's sugar-coated medicine.
Jaundice.
Yeah,
That's the disease.
Yeah.
A comment here. Prabhupada went to the Western countries and nobody knew anything about Krishna. But Prabhupada gave them the Krishna name and they accepted, because Prabhupada said, Krishna is in the heart of everyone, only I have awakened. So similar way, when we go to these people, those who do not know anything about Krishna, and if you awaken them, they become Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, they become Krishna conscious, and of course, we have to be Krishna conscious also. To the extent that we are Krishna conscious, is to that extent we're able to give Krishna to others. So Srila Prabhupada was fully Krishna conscious, pure devotee of Krishna. So therefore, when he's talking about Krishna, he's seeing Krishna. He was seeing Krishna. He's not just talking about Krishna just as a philosophy. No, he's seeing Krishna as, he's seeing person. There's a person there. So therefore, he's able to give Krishna to us. We should read that Prabhupada's poem on the Jalatuta. What is that? Which begins with, because there are two. One is start with Koro Krishna. Koro Krishna, what is that? Kila geye nileta koro ebegat. Anyway, there are two songs which Prabhupada wrote when he arrived in the. We should try to, read that song again and again and meditate on that song again and again. Then we can actually understand his mission. Huh? No. That verse which is composed, I just forget the first line. Anyway, it's there in the songbook. You find it in songbook. Okay.
I found one Bhagavad-Gita lying on the road footpath just day before yesterday. I was going home the night 8:30. The dogs were licking it up.
Okay.
Yeah, just I picked up cleaned it, the Bhagavad-Gita, and took my home. So it must have been given to some wrong person, or
possibly.
Drop off.
Maybe drop off. I don't think. So I don't think here in India anybody will take the Gita and put it in the trash can. People are very pious in India, so I don't think so. Even the Mayavadi, if they take the Gita, they will not put it in the trash can. You only see that in the West. Yeah, maybe come off the bag or something, Yeah.
Not realizing
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna.